Well, I first want to apologise to people who wanted to see my UFC on Fox, was it 7 or 8, one or the other, predictions video. It got as far as the editing stage, but never got any further because of issues that I faced this week. You can hear all about that in the weekly video blog if you want to. Needless to say, it's the first time that I've missed doing a predictions video for an event since whenever WEC 22 happened. Well, no, WEC 33. It was WEC 33 that I started. That's not including the 3 UFC events that I missed last year when I had no internet connection because I was moving house. But without a doubt, when I have internet connection, you have the predictions, and have had until this week. So I'm terribly sorry. I'm going to start by saying that right away, as you might imagine, I'm interested in what happened in the main event. Do you know, my thoughts on Benson Henderson are that he is not as good as people think, and the reason that is the case is because I disagree with some of the decisions that he's been awarded with. I thought that Frankie Edgar won both of the matches that happened between the pair. Therefore, really, the only win that I think that Benson Henderson has actually had is the one that involved Nathan Diaz, I think. And what annoys me is the fact that he was fast-tracked to the title because Dana White couldn't honour the promise that he made to Anthony Pettis. So you won't be surprised to find that although I took I looked at the main event with a completely unbiased opinion. I tried my absolute best. I still think that Gilbert Melendez won that match. You know, Gilbert Melendez has been extremely good in Strikeforce, and I was a bit surprised that he wasn't better. I had thought, in fact, in my predictions video, I had said I think that Gilbert Melendez has the power to finish Benson Henderson. There was at least 2 points where I thought that might have happened. One was very early in the match. I don't know if it was round 2 or round 3, and I thought that had he capitalised a little bit more on Benson Henderson, who appeared at one stage to be a little bit wobbly, he could have got a finish there. I also thought there was one point where he seemed to, in the later rounds, just let Benson Henderson get out of a situation that I felt that he could have capitalised on again. And I can't remember. I think that was when they were on the ground, but because I can't really remember which round these things happened in. Without a doubt, the first 2 rounds I would have said were Gilbert Melendez. Without a doubt, the 3rd and the 4th round were definitely Benson Henderson. He is somebody who seems to get better as the night progresses. He almost seems to have a warm-up period before he does well. I think there was one point where he moved to get the back, and that to me was like a bit of that was the horror point for me. That was when I thought, oh my goodness, Gilbert Melendez is not quite the person that I thought he would be in this match. I thought that it all comes down to the 5th round, and it very much depends on your criteria as to who you're going to give it to. The problem is that during the 3rd and the 4th round, there had been several clinches in which Henderson had done some quite extreme damage to Melendez's legs. There was a point where he, nearly got the back. There was a point where there was one other thing that I wanted to say, and I can't remember what it was. But basically, there were 3 things that he'd done across those 2 rounds that had an effect in the 5th round. I personally think that Gilbert Melendez won the 5th round and therefore won the match. This is one of those things, though, that I would have, and I don't usually do this, I would have accepted a draw. I would have said, perhaps Benson Henderson should keep the title, on the basis that it's a draw. What I don't think is right is that, the decision goes to Benson Henderson. I just think that's absolutely wrong. Now, they've already said that Gilbert Melendez isn't going to be given an instant rematch. Again, I am quite against instant rematches anyway, so I think that's fine. I think Gilbert Melendez should go fight somebody else, get a win, and then come back and re-challenge if Benson Henderson is still there after the next person, obviously. I think the UFC have done all that they can, but I'm disappointed in the judges for thinking that it should go to Benson Henderson and not Gilbert Melendez, even though I would say that it was probably close enough to be a legitimate draw. I would say if I had to choose one or the other, I would have chosen Gilbert Melendez. For that reason, and it's a case of heart and a case of annoyance, really, and a case of the fact that I think he deserves to win, that I'm going to give him my fighter off the card. And I don't do that lightly, okay? I don't do that lightly because there were a lot of other matches that went went really, really well. And I can't remember which ones. Frank Mir, Daniel Cormier I haven't seen, but if anyone wants to know, I think Cormier won that one, although it wasn't a finish. I had thought it would be a finish. I can't remember. I can't remember who I went for between Nathan Diaz and Josh Thompson. I'm kind of glad that Josh Thompson won this one, having heard and learnt a little bit about him, which I didn't know before, all the injuries he's had, and how he basically feels like because he has been injured so much, he hasn't been able to achieve all that he wanted to achieve, and that for me that's like for somebody to recognise that and still have the power to do what he does, I think that's quite amazing. And that to me would be like, well, yes, I think his character is, he's somebody that I could support. Of course, I also support Nathan Diaz, and I probably went for Nathan Diaz on that one, but I can't remember. Very surprised that Matt Brown won the match with Jordan Mine, and it was a stoppage as well. Chad Mendes, yes, I thought he would win. Didn't think it would happen quite so quickly, but I had no idea what I did with the Lorenz Larkin Francis Carmont one. Miles Jury all the way, and he proved that was going to be okay. I said that it was I thought that this one, the one before, which was the Joseph Benavidez one, would be a match that would show if you should consider Joseph Benavidez, of high caliber or not, because I know that he had lost a few, and that Darren had done better than expected, and so I thought that putting them together, you were going to see which one would do best, and if there was an end, like there was an end in that one, if I remember rightly, yes, then that just goes to show. No idea what I said with George Masvidal and Tim Means. TJ Dillashaw, don't know. I think he won though, didn't he? Yeah. I probably went for him because I don't think I know anything about Hugo Viana at all. Anthony Nojo Kwani, he won. And I sort of said a similar thing with him, because him and Joseph Benavidez were huge in WEC, and they had slowed down a bit since coming into the UFC, and I felt that we ought to take their performances at that event as being proof of whether they could still be considered high caliber people, or whether they were passing their prime. Both of them proved that they had stoppage ability, at least with half a match still to play for. Yes, and Clifford Starks, and I think I went for Clifford Starks and he lost. I don't think I did too badly. I can't remember, and I do apologise once again. It won't happen again. He says about to quickly get on with the next UFC predictions. But that's my thoughts on UFC on Fox 7, and yes, until next time.